Hey, Jason here. This episode, or in this case study, I'm going to tell you what return on invested capital or ROIC is. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to tell you why it's important and also show you how to calculate it. Today, though, I'm going to focus on what ROIC is. This is one of the most asked questions I get from students, potential clients, anything. This is one of the most frequently asked questions I get. So I wanted to answer that here for you today. Before I do that, though, and tell you my definition, I need to show you the technical book definition of it. So from here to here, ignore the rest because I don't use weighted average cost of capital. So that's it. That's a story for a different day. So focus on what's highlighted here. So return on invested capital is a calculation used to assess a company's efficiency at allocating the capital under its control to profitable investments. The return on invested capital ratio gives a sense of how well a company is using its money to generate returns. So let me bring you back here. What the hell does that mean in a real world sense? Because that two sentences is super confusing. What that really means is actually, let me go back. I should have done this. I should have just kept you there. So this is what I do with my students in our Masterclass or coaching program. So when we come up with a confusing definition like this, I break it down into parts. So return on invested capital is a calculation used to assess a company's efficiency at allocating the capital. So efficiency at allocating the capital, that means essentially how profitable it is and what kind of return it's earning from the capital it has, or that it's investing or using, or whatever the terminology is. This is what kind of return the company is getting based by using their assets and to invest in the company or to grow their company or whatever the case is. So that's what that means. Efficiency at allocating the capital under its control to profitable investments. So what's a profitable investment? A company could use. A profitable investment is that would generate higher ROICs, would be improving. Let's say it's a manufacturer and they are producing a widget called widget XYZ. If they figure out how to create that more efficiently and they can sell it at a higher price and a higher margin, that would make the investment more profitable, which would raise ROIC. If they do the same thing and they figure out how to manufacture widget XYZ at a lower price, that will also lower their margin. Because if it's the same, if they lower the price that it takes for them to create, but they sell it at the same price, let's say $5, if their original cost was $4 and they lower that to $2, they've increased, or they've doubled their amount of money they're going to be earning there. Actually more than that. So their profit would go from $1 per widget to $3 per widget. That would essentially triple their profitability, which would triple, or in some cases, would triple the ROIC. Another example of what they could invest in would be improving sales and marketing, hiring a COO that's going to fix operations, expanding geographically, expanding your product line. The key thing here is that it's profitable, though. That is the key thing here that you need to remember. So, for example, let's go to the inverse of that. Let's say, I'm going to bring you back here for a second before we finish off. Let's say the company does these things and they invest in widget XYZ, but their costs don't go down because there was no way that they figured out to make the process to create the widget at a more profitable level. Their new process isn't as profitable as they thought, and it was about the same cost. So essentially what that means is that money would be wasted in terms of the actual financial metrics, and the money would just be gone. It would earn a return on capital of 0 because they wouldn't have an improved things, even though they would have spent money to work to improve things. So this is why you see like tech companies with R&D. Are they earning a high return on their R&D spend? Are they becoming more innovative? Are they coming out with new products that are better? Are they coming out with new services that are better? Or are they just spending a ton on R&D and not seeing any return? That's another kind of side of this coin that you need to think of. Is the investment that they're doing, A, is it going to be worth it at the end? B, if it's not, are you comfortable essentially losing that money? All of these things, and frankly a lot more, affect ROIC. This is why this number is so important, which I'll talk about next week. Or this is some of why this number is so important, which I'll talk about next week. But let's go back to continuing to talk about that, though, or we'll talk about that next week, sorry, and we'll finish talking about this. So the return on invested capital ratio gives a sense of how well a company is using its money to generate returns. So again, let's break this down. Gives a sense of how well a company is using its money to generate returns. So again, let's say widget XYZ. They figured out in our original example how to sell the product, or how to get the product's cost down from $4 to $2, which essentially triples their profit margin on that product. That is an example of a great, frankly, use or return on your capital, and their returns on their capital would go through the roof after that if they could keep their prices the same. Again, there's a lot of nuances to ROIC and a lot of these scenarios, but this is frankly, oops, I'm going to bring you back here before my screen takes you somewhere else again. This is what ROIC is. It shows you how profitable you are now, and it helps you measure your profitability over time based on how the entire company is operating. You can even use this metric to evaluate individual product lines, individual services, individual products themselves. Like I said, you can go all the way down to widget XYZ. You can lower the cost to manufacture from $4 to $2, which essentially triples your profitability margin and ROIC. But if you have widget ABC that you still invest the same amount of capital on, and it doesn't lower the cost, and it doesn't allow you to raise prices, that money is just essentially gone. Another thing you have to worry about, though, with ROIC is not just the now, but is this going to pay off in the future as well? There's a lot of nuances to this. And again, we'll save this for the future discussion, specifically when we get to the why and how to calculate it, because there are a lot of important nuances when it comes to ROIC that, frankly, pretty much no one thinks about and no one tells you about. But it's an enormously important metric. One of my favorite metrics to use. This is what it means. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I missed something, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to clarify things for you. Next week, we'll talk about the why ROIC is so important. A week after that, I'll show you how I calculate ROIC, because there's many different ways to calculate it. So, love to hear your thoughts on this. Love to hear your comments, questions. Again, if I miss anything, if I could have explained something better, if I could have given a clearer example. The reason I'm doing this is because, again, this is pretty much the number one question I get asked by clients and students is, what is ROIC and why is it important? How do you calculate it? These 2 questions that I'm going to answer today and over the next 2 weeks, I get this more than just about any question. So I hope this helped. I'll see you again next week. Until then, if you're interested in learning more about this kind of stuff at a faster pace, we have our Value Investing Masterclass and our $10,000 coaching one-on-one coaching program that you can have access to as well. The links for those will be below with more information. And I love teaching this stuff, and especially because, frankly, nobody talks about, especially ROIC, in the depth that it needs to be talked about in. They say, hey, this is this metric. here's what it means in a kind of a basic sense. And if it has XYZ above XYZ margin, which again, we'll talk about in the next couple of weeks, it's generally a good investment, but you need to understand what that is and how you can use this in multiple different ways, again, from the entire company level all the way down to individual products as well. So this will help you as an investor. And frankly, if you're a business owner, this will help you as a business owner evaluate if you should keep doing your product or service or offering as well. So again, I hope this helped. Love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, I'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day. Bye.